Hello, friends. We are back. This is another edition of What's Going On right here on Fox Sports 1280 Rochester. And this is Ryan Verneuille alongside of my co host for the evening, the lovely Danique Liddell, who you can hear on My Boxing Point of View. And to get things started on today's edition of What's Going On, we're bringing on an absolute legend, a guy who was one of the all time greats in track and field and later made the transition to working with professional boxers, training world champions, and of course, arguably the most famous boxer right now, Jake Paul's coach, the legend himself, Larry Wade, is here on What's Going On. Larry, how are you, man? How are you, coach?
Listen, man, I'm honored to be here. I'm grateful you guys took the time out of your day to talk a little bit of me, and hopefully we can get some good stuff out of this conversation.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we're going for all the juice, man. All the good
Uh,
stuff. We have to.
you and everybody else.
I know. We got to be like these gossipy page sixers. No, not really.
Yeah.
We've got Danique here with all the
No.
professional questions and
Yes,
me here
yes, we do.
to figure out. Look, I'm just a fan of not one of these super mega boxing fans, but I've been watching plenty of fights, especially recently now that it's moved to Netflix.
Oh,
Hmm.
So, I mean, what do you think about this new direction of boxing, which is you're one of the pioneers and legends behind the scenes making this transition happen? A lot of people are saying, oh, boxing's dead, but you that's in the heat of it, how do you feel about that
I,
statement, boxing's dead?
well, I disagree. I do feel like there was a period of time where boxing was starting to struggle in keeping fans, especially when
hmm
you take us out of the main line of television and we made it more cable and then HBO, Showtime. So you had to have a paid subscription or a cable channel to have it. That made less eyes be able to have access to it, which made it less palatable as far as wanting to watch it. But now, since the majority of the people on earth are with Netflix, and they're able to put it back into the mainstream and people get opportunity to pick and select fighters who they like or dislike. Now we're in the process, in my opinion, of building it back up. You know,
Right.
the world has to always understand that when we go to watch movies, yeah, we go to a movie to be entertained, but we always want to see a good guy and a bad guy. Either way,
Mm.
we want to watch it, right? And so if we went to a movie theater to watch a movie and we only had good guys, we would never watch it. If we only had bad
Absolutely.
guys, we would never watch it. So now
Yeah.
what Netflix is doing is giving people an opportunity to select who they like and dislike and be able to be fans of those individuals and be able to see them ongoing, opposed to you see one fight on HBO with somebody you might kind of know, but maybe
hmm
not really, but you
hmm
watch it because your friends are watching it. You're not going
Right.
back to watch it again, right? So
Right.
I think Netflix has been good. I think the change of guys coming from a different atmosphere, a different space, like social media coming into the
hmm
sport. It's been helpful as well, bring different eyes, different sponsorships. So I feel like it's the one of the best things that could have ever happened to the sport.
Right. And what do you think about Turkey Al Sheik's entrance? How do you think he's changing boxing? And give us your opinion on that.
It took me a minute to kind of get a grasp of how I felt about it,
Uh
only
huh.
because you just never know someone's full intentions when they
Right.
come into a sport. You don't know
hmm
if they are to build it or just to pull or take away from it. I think Turkey
Right.
Al has a plan that he feels like can help build the sport based on his
Absolutely.
perspective, and I feel like there's a space not only for him but for other people as well to be able to cut out their little piece of the pie to be able to build the sport into a much bigger space. So, as of right now, he's bringing a lot of money to the sport, and
Oh,
that's something that
yes.
a lot of fighters really need. We've heard
Yes.
so many stories of guys retiring with no money and no benefits and not able to take care of themselves. So, I feel like he's bringing some good things to the table as well. And I think as long as we continue to put it in that competitive space,
Right.
and I'm going to repeat this for a reason, as long as you keep putting it in that competitive space, then the
Right.
sport can grow.
I agree. I agree a
It,
1000%. And what do you think about the reforming of the Muhammad Ali Act? Do you think that could be a good thing for the sport or for the boxers? Do you think what's your opinion on that? Because that's a big thing, that's going around as well in the industry and with Turkey Al Sheikh and Dana White coming in with
mm.
the president of the United States putting that on Congress's door. How do you feel about that?
I
Because I
feel
know
like
there was
that.
mixed reviews.
I feel like in that particular situation, we have to be very careful. We
Mm-hmm.
have to be very careful because if we pay attention to the whole purpose of why that was created, it was created to protect the athletes.
Right.
And if we create a new space of where those athletes are no longer protected, then I think we're in a space where the ones who are benefiting will benefit the most, and the ones who should benefit will benefit the least. So we
That's
have to be very,
interesting.
very careful in how we address that and how we tweak it. You
Right.
know, if everyone's on the best has best intentions, and great. But if we're just looking at it purely as a business structure, it makes it
Right.
difficult because we got human beings that are involved with it. And it's not, we're
Right.
not talking about a situation, say, with a factory where you may just lose your job. We're in a
Exactly.
space where you can actually lose your life.
Exactly.
So
I
there's a
always say
little
you
bit on the
can't play
line.
boxing.
So we have to really just be very careful in how we address that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's one of the main reasons why it's been such a challenge over these years for anybody to actually work something like that out. So obviously we've got a very, very big day, November 14th, as Jake Paul is set to face Gervonta Davis. So there's the
Excited
obvious
about this fight.
I love this fight, man. I
oh
love this
man.
fight.
So and there's a lot of people talking, a lot of people think that even though there's a big size difference, that Jake Paul's just not cut from that cloth, but you've trained world champions. So let's just start here. Just from you training Jake behind the scenes, do you put him in the same class with his potential ceiling as some of these other great fighters that you've trained in the past?
Absolutely, absolutely, you have
Okay.
to. I feel like
That's great.
I think anyone who has any type of boxing knowledge, and
Mm-hmm.
the hell with it, if they got any type of common sense, if they would evaluate their favorite fighters and go back to a guy, and I'm just going to use Gervonta because we're fighting him.
Right.
Um, go back to his amateur career. He has what, over 130 something amateur fights,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And
Mm-hmm.
then before he gets on TV, maybe he had maybe 10, 12, 15 other fights before he got any real TV time. Well,
Right.
Jake was able started fighting from fight one on TV, right? And when you
Right.
start at fight one, you don't get a chance to develop and grow behind the curtain like everybody else did. If you go back
Mm-hmm.
and look at your very, very best favorite fighter on earth, and you look at the first 15 fights and ask yourself how they looked in the first 15 fights and compare yourself to what how Jake looks in his first 15 fights, there won't be a comparison. On top of that, you look at the quality of fighters he's had in front of him, even if they came from UFC, the quality of fighters who were champions to get in front of him fighting, you compare them to some of your favorite fighters' first 5 to 10 fights, and they fighting taxi drivers, trash man, the man sitting in the
Mm-hmm.
stands that just happened to want to make
Right.
$500.
Yep. And it's
You have
always
a
who this
different
guy fight.
yeah,
He's got all these fights under his belt, but who did he fight? That's
right.
always a big thing in the boxing industry when you talk about boxers.
Right.
You
So you
know?
look if you look at that, if the world just looks at that, then they have the answers to their own questions. The reason it comes up so much for Jake is because one, he gets so much TV time, and two, he makes so much money doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So the fighters and the promoters and the people who aren't able to benefit from it definitely are going to want to say things to tear him down because they're not able to be part of it. But I promise you, if they were able to get their piece of the pie, oh, he'd be the best thing since sliced bread.
Oh, oh
So
yeah.
yeah. So at this point,
What
I love it.
what are these? What is one thing that all of these world champions and Jake Paul have in common? Since you can put them in the same category as these other guys, like what is that trait? Is it their personality? Is it
Right,
their
because you
physical
trained them all. You
limitations?
trained the best, and now you're training Jake Paul. So you can tell us like what's the similarities, you know?
I'm laughing because this answer is gonna sound crazy, and I've always said it. They all crazy. Every last one of them are crazy, you know. And now I'm not saying that they're not intelligent. They're smart. A lot of them are smart as hell. But they all got that one little screw that ain't tightened all the way up. And when it come
Right,
unraveled, boy, they
right.
come unraveled, right? So I think anyone that has become a world champion in boxing specifically, or let's not even say just boxing, let's just use basketball. If they when they talk about Michael Jordan, they all talk about how ultra competitive he was and that he was crazy and that he would make stuff up in his head to motivate him to compete. All
Yes,
these guys are a little bit not wrapped right, right? And I think
right.
that's great. That's what makes them think outside the box. That's what makes them
Hmm.
believe in themselves. Because the reality of it is, none of us are going to be open to walking outside the door and say, "Hey, every time I walk out this door, I'm gonna get hit in the face." Nobody's
Absolutely.
going to go look
No,
forward to it. These
no.
guys jump into the ring, understanding, and this is what makes them crazy, to accepting the fact that this is going to come along with it. I'm going to walk in this ring and I'm going to get hit in the face, and I'm okay with that. So you got
Right,
to be a little unwrapped a little bit to want to do it.
right.
So that's what makes them very good as far as comparison. But there's another aspect too. I think a lot of times Jake doesn't get respected for his commitment to
Hmm.
the sport. I mean, when you're in this sport, if you want to be at the top, you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot. You're gonna have to give up a lot. And a lot of
Absolutely.
guys don't. A lot people who are just TV fans, they don't see anything but the fight. They don't realize how much time these guys give up. In my
On the
first
back
year with
end.
Jake, we was in camp 10 out of the 12 months. We did 3 months, had a month off, did 3 months, had a month off, did 3 months. Before we know it, we done did, 10, 9 months of camp. So that means in those 10, 9 months, there's a lot of times you're not able to spend time with your mom, your dad, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever you got going on, right? So they
Right.
sacrifice a lot. So that being said, I think that's another attribute that makes him more zoned to be a world champion. And forget his athletic ability, he has it. He's gifted. So
Right.
it's just about sharpening it up.
And that's what you're there for. That he's got a legendary coach to do this, that. So, in terms of his actual workouts and what he's doing behind the scenes, are we talking like Rocky Four here? Or are we talking like the actual level behind the scenes? Because you mentioned that a lot of these guys have 130 fights leading up to their first television
Hmm.
fight. So there's a lot of training in between. Is
Mm.
he hyper focused on the training? I mean,
No,
what's his level of training compared to some of these other guys you work with? Because I imagine he has to be doing it that much harder to keep up with guys that have been fighting for their entire
Right.
lives.
And he seems very focused, very disciplined, very confident. So just like give us a little bit insider info into how disciplined he is in this camp.
he's always had great work ethic from the very beginning. He's worked his
Hmm.
ass off. One of the best decisions he made, in my opinion, is saying to himself, I don't have all the answers. So
Yeah.
let me bring somebody in who may have these answers to help me get better. And that's when he brought the Atchis Chambers in, who we call third from Crunk. He brought
Right.
Jellion Love in, who also from Detroit and come from the Crunk family. Then he brought me in as well, with me having my world titles on my back. And so he brought a lot of experience in to kind of help close the gap between where he's at and where he wants to be. And each fight, that gap gets a little closer. But the thing
Right.
is, he gets judged even more because he's elevating at the same time. I expect all of that to hit a peak where he's going to be at his best as far as the learning IQ curve and athleticism
Hmm.
and conditioning, and along with a level of talent he's going to have in front of him, meaning world champion. So it's all going to meet at one apex point, and when that moment comes, then the world will understand the vision we had from the very beginning. Jake telling me he wanted to be a world champion is what convinced me to want to sign with him. It wasn't
Right.
anything else.
Right, because you've worked with a notable
Hmm.
amount of athletes and boxers. And I always say when I watch boxers, when I watch these boxing matches, and you can tell when they don't have a strength and conditioning coach. And
You
I
can
always tell
definitely
my
tell.
sister, I said, why don't they hire Larry Wade? Like, they need a strength and conditioning coach. He's literally by the third round, like, they're like asking,
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen that.
like
Yeah,
they didn't have the strength and conditioning coach. It's essential to
right,
me, like as as a spectator, as a boxing analyst, from a fan's point of view, looking at the fight,
right.
like this guy needs a strength and conditioning coach. Like you are key.
Well,
You can't just have the person who is going to teach you the skill. You have to have a strength and conditioning coach. So he
true. And
definitely did the right thing in hiring you.
well, I'm grateful for it. I think the number one thing that we bring to the table is experience,
Hmm.
and you can't put a price tag on experience. You only can earn
Right.
it, and he's getting his dollars worth every time he get in that ring, every fight,
Hmm.
because he's gaining experience that no one else is able to have. And let's just think about it. Think about it in the last, say, 3 fights or 4 fights. How many champions he's been in the ring with, whether
Oh,
it was boxing or UFC. Think about the level of experience he's acquired
right.
each and every time. And so each time he goes in the ring and sparring, we can see, oh, he took something back from that fight. Like he brought something
Right.
new to the table that he learned, right?
Right.
And I just told Jake this past week that hey, we had a great week of sparring because every round I saw you learning. Every round I
Right.
saw you trying to get better. The biggest mistake that boxers make is thinking,
They know
I'm winning
everything.
sparring. I'm winning
Hmm.
sparring. I'm going to win sparring. No, you're going to
Hmm.
learn in sparring. You win
Right.
fights. So
Right.
he's,
And that's
but
key. And you
mhm.
guys are training in the United States. You guys are training in Puerto Rico and Finland. I remember you said, you know.
Yeah, we're training all over the world right now, but we're training. When you're at a fight at this level, there's a lot of marketing and things that have to get done, right?
Uh-huh.
In order for the fight to be as, successful as you
Successful.
want it to be. So that being said, yeah, we may have to go to New York and do a press conference, but we still got to work. We may have
Right.
to go to Miami, do photo shoots, press conference, but we still got to work. So
Hmm.
we'll travel all over, but Jake makes sure his entire team goes with him because every city we go to, we work that day.
Okay.
Even if we have a full schedule, we work. We went a full day one day. I want to say we had a full day on in New York where he had to do interviews, he had to do the press conference, and we also had to
Hmm.
do a private flight back to Miami. We still worked out that day. We did a full workout that day.
Oh,
So
wow. We knew
there's
about the press conference.
yeah, there's no breaks. We work. So where everybody else think, oh, he's just taking pictures today, or he just did the press conference today. No, we've already put in 3 hours, if not four. We already did it.
Wow, that's amazing.
So he goes up there after already having a workout, or in other situations where he'll go up there and maybe we couldn't do it that morning, we go work that evening. Worst
Right.
case scenario, we go for a long run. It's the worst case scenario. But we
Yeah.
always work, even if we're not there, and if we're not there to compete or whatever.
How
Right.
does it impact him just having the level of celebrity that he has? How does that affect the behind the
It
scenes and the
has to
training? And
affect
I
your
mean,
training.
compared to if you've trained world champions, yes, but people that are actual household names, that's absolutely different, I would imagine. What's it like for you having to cope with that? And what different tactics do you have to use training Jake Paul than you'd have to use otherwise?
I don't
Right.
care.
And Jake was a household name before he even got into boxing. He was a huge YouTube sensation.
Just on
Yeah, I
Disney
don't.
Channel.
So he's a very well known celebrity.
We don't care. We don't care that he's a celebrity. We don't care that he's well known. He asked us to come in and help him become a world champion.
Right.
That's how we see him. We're not here to be fans of him. We're here to get you to become a world champion. So there are plenty of other people on this earth that can say, hey, I'm a Jake Paul fan. I want to get his autograph. I want to be near him. Well, I want to get Jake Paul to be a world champion.
Hmm.
Whatever he does outside of that, that's Jake. That's a
That's up to
different
him.
Jake Paul.
Yeah.
That's on him. I want him to be a world champion. So we don't care that he's a celebrity in that response. We respect him, but he has to respect us too, and he does. So when we like, hey, I'm tired. I'm gonna have to do this. Listen, man, I don't care. We got what we got to do the things necessary so that you come up out that ring alive. This is one of few sports that you get hit the wrong way, you don't walk out.
Oh
So
yeah. You can't play boxing.
I'm not gonna be responsible for that. So that being said, we don't really take that in consideration. The only time we may take it in consideration is if we're transporting places,
Hmm.
because the fans sometimes can be a little unruly, do some negative things or say negative things. Then only at that point do we take consideration. But when we're in that ring and when we're in the gym, he's another athlete.
Right. Right. Now, what do you think about fans and people who have said that Tank shouldn't have taken this fight? It's going to tarnish his legacy. So, what do you think about legacy versus immediate results?
I would
What do you
ask
think
him.
about that? Because
I,
that's
I,
that's a good question,
I,
Coach.
I don't question that. I'm not. I'm not saying it's a bad question, but what is legacy? That becomes the question. You
Right.
know, because some of the decisions you make now that people may not be in favor of later can become the reason why they like you.
Right.
Right? You go back to Muhammad Ali when he decided he wasn't going to the military, he wasn't going to the army, he wasn't going to go fight. The general public hated him for it.
Absolutely.
He's a
Absolutely.
draft
He was
dodger.
villainized.
He's not for the country. And then later on, it's the same reason why they stood up behind him. Of like, hey, look, he's a man's man. He's the greatest boxer of all time. And
Yep.
and that being said, I think that you have to make the best decisions based on where you feel like you're at in life.
Hmm.
And if you talk about legacy, to be honest with you, we end up chasing legacy our whole life.
You
It's
should
not
be.
it's not one fight, it's not one week, it's not one month. Legacy is what you chase all the way till you're at the end.
Into
I'm
that's
I-
right.
I'm at 50 years old right now. I already graduated from college and done all these other things that you guys named earlier, even my own day in the city and everything else. And I'm
Right.
still at 50 chasing legacy. By the way, you was at that. By the way, when I got that,
That's right. I was
yeah, I
there
got that.
because
Yeah,
my
so
Congrats.
we gave you the safety award,
that's
corner
right. I got
focus.
that's right.
Remember?
I ended up
That's
getting the
right.
Crystal Safety Award as well at the same
Yep,
time.
December
That's
15th.
great.
Yeah, December 15th, right? So that being said, you chase legacy your whole life. Even now, I'm going back to get my PhD now. So, I'm at 50. What am I going to do with it? I don't know, but I'm chasing it, right? Because it's
Right.
something I want to accomplish. So with Gervonta, he's still young in his life. If he feels like he wants to get this bag and he wants to get the opportunity to fight Jake Paul, great. But you got to think of it like this. Let's say he loses. Let's say Gervonta loses, right?
Hmm.
And Jake goes on to be a world champion.
Right.
Does it look bad anymore? Because now Jake's a world champion now.
Yeah,
Think
you got a
about that.
point. You got a
So
point.
it all, things that people look at negatively now may not be so negative later. And at the end of the day, the one thing I know Jake does understand, he understands that he has to prepare 100%. If he doesn't do that, there's a chance he can get hurt. But he also understands, coming from the YouTube world, entertainment is a lot of it, and that he
Yes.
wants to entertain the world. And the last thing, which this part I said Jake is crazy about, Jake likes to do things that he feels like pins him into a corner, and he got to fight his way out. He's that way with
Interesting.
everything, not just boxing. He likes to paint himself into a corner and fight from that corner because he feels like he
Right.
fights harder. He could have easily taken anybody else and got money if it was about the money. He wants
Right.
to take a guy who they consider to be a household name, whose skill set is crazy,
Right.
and him challenge himself to see if I can beat this guy.
Right. I'm not
That's
gonna
it.
lie. When I saw that the two of them were lined up, I said I don't really see how it's gonna work because Javante, Jake is significantly bigger than him
Hmm.
as far as
Well,
weight class is concerned, and
hmm
height and reach. So there's definitely things there that are not necessarily in Javante's favor
well, there's
when
also
it comes down
things
to this
that,
fight.
yeah, well, if you're matchmaking, but it's the unspoken things that we understand. You can't put
Hmm.
a scale or a grade on Javante's IQ.
Oh,
You
that's
can't
the
put a
thing that's
scale or a
unmatched.
grade exactly on his experience,
That's right.
his
His ring
athleticism and
IQ is
explosion.
unmatched.
Yeah,
I'm a
so you
huge Javante Davis fan.
so where you may see one side as being unbalanced, the other side is still there too. So he has a lot of great things on his side as well that we took in consideration. We didn't look at
Yes.
this as being no easy fight. We didn't look at this as
No,
not being. This is a risky fight. We knew
absolutely.
it, and to
His
be
ring
very honest,
IQ alone.
it's
He
crazy.
goes out there, he executes, he figures his opponent out, and that's it. I mean,
Hmm.
I've been at many Javante Davis fights, but I've been like, this is amazing. I've never seen
Yeah.
anybody with this ring IQ. Besides,
Hmm.
like Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's ring IQ is definitely off the charts as well. You know who he was
Oh,
under for
absolutely.
years.
But let me say this to you guys: if you guys saw the press conference, and I don't care if Javante hears this or not, but if you guys saw the press conference and he pushed Jake, right? If you go back and look at it, he pushed Jake for a number of reasons. He pushed Jake to see what Jake's
Mhm.
response was going to be and to see how heavy it was. Jake took one step back. He knew it was a
Uh-huh.
problem. But if you notice, when Jake pushed him back, he opened up his right side. He wanted to see if he can catch him with a counter. He was testing the distance. It wasn't just all emotion.
Uh-huh.
He was calculating.
Right.
And to
Right.
a guy who knows the
Absolutely.
sport and two coaches who understand, we all looked at each other and said, "You know what that was, right?" we all knew.
Right.
We all knew what it
I
was.
automatically said he's sizing him up.
Yeah,
Automatically,
he
I just
sized
got
him
in
up.
my
He wanted
head
to
and
see
said
if his
he's
reach was
sizing
as
him
long.
up.
He wanted to see what Jake's response was, and he was
Yeah.
already downloading data.
Yeah, even to see
Yeah,
where his
so
heart was at, to see what his reaction would be, his flinching responses, all those things.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what's the, I wouldn't say the prediction, but what's the game plan? Are we going for a Jake Paul first round knockout here, or is he trying to? I mean, what's the strategy in
So
the
let
camp
me
here?
tell you my strategy 7 weeks before the fight, so the whole world can hear it, including Gervonta Davis. Yeah, no, not telling that, but I can't tell you this though. We're not taking him lightly at all. We understand how dangerous he is at every weight class. Doesn't matter the weight
Right.
class. We've seen many times where the smaller guy can beat the bigger guy. So we just saw that in this past fight with Terrence Crawford and Canelo. He just he was coming from
Yep.
what 35, 40, 47, 54, now 68. So we know it can
Yep.
happen. So
And 68.
yeah,
He went up
yeah.
two
So we
weight
know it can
classes in
happen.
that
So
fight.
we are not taking him for granted. We are not looking past him or over him. We're looking at the fact that we understand that this man is who he is for a reason, and that we're going to do everything we
Mm-hmm.
can to make sure we walk out of there successful. So whether it's an early knockout, or whether it's a stoppage, or whether it's a decision, I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
So that being said, we know that you're training. You know, you're not friends with Jake Paul. You're making this man into a world champion. I shouldn't say you're
Yeah,
not a
I'm his
fan of
friend.
Jake
I'm just
Paul.
not a
Your
fan.
intention is making him
I'm
into a world
his
champion.
trainer.
Yeah.
So that being said, when do you see this prediction coming true? When do you see him actually becoming a world champion? How long is it going to take after this fight?
If it doesn't happen in this
Well,
fight.
I don't think it can happen based on how they got the structure of the fight set up that he can. But I do believe in the
Right.
next couple of fights he'll be closer to that opportunity. I'm in no rush to get it because the more fights we get, the more experience we get. So if I really think about it, and I don't know boxing history that extremely well, but if let's just say Jake becomes a world champion by say 20 fights, and they were saying the youngest heavyweight fighter to ever make it was Mike Tyson at 20 years old. Let's just say under 20 fight. Oh, you know what?
Mm.
Let's say under 18 fights, he gets to become a world champion. Do you know any other fighters that have ever became world champions under 18 fights? Now, when I say 18 fights, I'm not saying 18 professional fights. I'm saying 18 fights.
Okay.
Period.
Period.
Think about that. I ain't talking about people who had 30
Right.
amateur fights or 10 amateur fights and then fought their way and became world champion at like 13, 14 fights. I'm saying period. Do we know anyone else
Mm-hmm.
on earth in the history of boxing that became a world champion with only 18 to 20 fights ever? It's a possibility. I'm not saying it didn't happen.
No,
I just don't know of it.
off the top of my head, me either. I would definitely have to
Yeah.
chat
You know,
GPT.
Yeah,
I'd
that
have to
that
do a
sound. I mean,
fact
it just
check
sounds
on that, but
ridiculous.
it's definitely not anything off the
right,
top of my head at all. I mean,
So
Jake has been making a lot of strides and things that people haven't done, that professional athletes haven't done
right,
in any sport,
right.
period. You know?
for him to get to that level from where he
And him to be
began is
fighting
absolutely
Gervonta
insane.
Davis is
It's
it's
it's crazy. I never. Who
it's
would have
mind
actually
blowing.
thought this would happen? Like when Jake
Right.
first stepped into the ring. I don't know if anybody could have seen him actually taking on Tank Davis. That's insane. So that being
No,
said, Coach,
definitely not.
before you got in, I mean, what did you have to change about his training methods? How did you improve these training methods? Was there anything at all you had to change
I
when you
think the number
started
one
working with
things we
Jake
had
Paul?
to change was just the mindset. Most people who get into boxing, they
Mm.
watch it on YouTube. They watch it on Instagram, and they want to do the fastness, pretty boy, slicky moves, punch, and that sounds good, right? But 9 times out of 10, most of that stuff is going to help you in a real fight, right? It looks good though, but yeah, it looks amazing. I think the
It looks
first
great.
thing that we sat down as a team and discussed was what we need to have, what needs to happen at this point, because he had just came off of a loss with Tommy Fury, and one of the things that we all recognized from the very beginning, his footwork was not good at all. He had horrible footwork. And so we
Hmm.
spent a
I was
lot
going
of
to ask you
time,
about
and we
his
still do
footwork.
a lot of time working on footwork. As a matter of fact, for the very first camp, we went so many days of just footwork only. I know Jake was like, "I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this shit," because that's all we did. We wouldn't even throw punches. He just
Hmm.
moving for hours. She'll
Right.
say, move the feet a certain way, calves burning, quads burning, and
Right.
I think that was the number one thing that we all have said without a shadow of a doubt that we have to fix, because it doesn't matter how athletic he is. If he don't have proper footwork and he's not able to react when someone comes his way, he's just going to continue to get caught. He's going to continue to make bad defensive decisions. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
I
we
think
we changed
because
that, and if you
you're
go
just
look over
standing
past
there,
fights, if
right?
you go look at when he starts, he's in a good position. The only way he may stray away from it is if he feels in command and he feels like he has the opportunity to just freelance a little bit. But we try to stay locked into it. So that's one of the top things. From a strength conditioning
Right.
standpoint, I'm gonna speak on something I don't think most people would even pretend to understand because they just like watching TV. What we've seen Jake do over the last six fights has been, from a weight standpoint, has been phenomenal. But the world won't value it because they don't understand the difficulty of which he did it. We went from my first fight fighting 185,
Okay.
right? The next fight we fought 200, which is cool. We're gonna go cruiserweight, no problem. Then we went cruiserweight again, right?
Right.
Right after that last cruiserweight fight, we supposed to fight Mike Tyson. We go up to 238. We think the fight's gonna be good. We done gained 38 pounds. The fight gets postponed. In 5 weeks, we dropped 38 pounds to go to 200.
Right.
As soon as that's over, the very next fight is Mike Tyson again. So we gained another 29 pounds in order to get in the ring with Tyson. Because not only is it
Right.
about strength, it's about durability. If this man hits you, it's going to hurt. So you got to be able to absorb it. So we went up to 229.
So,
I I
so
just
coach,
turned it
one
off.
last question here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Turn it back on,
You know,
Vern.
we look at the all-time great fighters. You think of Muhammad Ali with his speed, his footwork, his charisma, Mike Tyson with his explosive punching power, that fear factor, Floyd Mayweather with his defense. When it's all said and done, what is Jake Paul going to be best known for as a boxer?
I really believe, besides all those things, those attributes you name for those other boxers, I think what Jake is most known for, even now, is his resiliency. He's resilient. He wants it. He's willing to take chances. Other people not willing to take chances. We saw all those fighters at some point decide that, hey, I'm not going to take a chance. I'm just going to take this easy fight or whatever the case may be. Jake likes challenges. He likes to put his career on the line against guys that people think he shouldn't put in the ring with. And think about this. How many other people you know go from absolutely doing nothing? And when I say nothing, I mean nothing in the sport, to deciding, hey, now I want to be a world champion. So I think that takes a lot out of a person. Think for yourself. You're doing radio. What would convince you to put your life on the line and go in the ring with a guy and to say, not only am I going to put my life on the line, I want to be the absolute best at it, be one of the best in the world, become a world champion. The type of courage it takes to do that is something that I think every
It's
man should want
phenomenal.
to applaud and be like. So I think when he walks away, I think the whole world is going to have the largest amount of respect because they're going to be able to see this man did something that 99% of the men on earth weren't able to do. And that's to put it all on the line and risk it all and for the opportunity to be great.
Right, especially with this Gervonta Davis fight. This is a very
Exactly.
risky fight for him.
Exactly.
Very risky.
The man stepped into the ring with Mike Tyson. He's got
And
to be crazy, just
hey,
like you said.
listen, when we were training and Mike's videos was coming out, how like explosive he was and he was hurting people, I looked at Jake. I said, "You sure?" He says,
Yeah.
"He's like, yeah, I
What did
want it."
Yeah.
Jake say?
He's like, "Hell yeah, you want it?" Hell yeah.
So, I mean, he also didn't get to grow up as a kid watching what Tyson did. So
Right.
I think that might have had something to do with it. Because if you were my age when Mike Tyson was doing what he was doing, you wouldn't dare step into a ring with the man. Doesn't matter how old he
Right.
is.
That's Iron Mike. That's
Yeah,
Right.
it is.
Iron
Hey,
Mike.
listen, when they got into it on stage and Mike punched him because he stepped on his toe, and we had that little meet and greet in the middle, I got right up into the crowd and I
Yeah.
looked, and Mike looked at me. I had to turn my head because you know how they say wild animals don't look them in the eye. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike ain't gonna attack me up on the
Oh,
stage.
man.
Mike not about to attack me on the stage.
Wow.
Hell no. So I'm standing up there,
That
but I'm
is
kind of like this. If you go and look at the video, I'm kind of
Right.
like,
That's not in your contract, right,
yeah,
coach?
I'm not looking at Mike here. I'm looking like over here, but I gotta still be tough. I gotta still be tough. I can fight anybody else on
That's
your team, but
unbelievable.
I ain't really mess with you, Mike.
So dream coach question here. If you did have the opportunity to coach Mike Tyson in his prime, how would you have done so? How would you have dealt with a prime Mike Tyson?
Well, let's just say this. I actually had the opportunity to train Mike for this fight with Jake. It was I got a phone call about actually being his strength conditioning coach for the fight, and the individual who called me
Really?
forgot that I was actually with Jake, and I told him. I said, unfortunately, I'm fighting against you. He was like, that's right. I just knew in there.
Oh
So it was a
no.
compliment, though, that both sides wanted me, so I'm grateful.
That's
Listen,
crazy.
I'm telling you, every time I see someone gas me for air round three, I'm like, they need Coach Larry
Yeah.
Wade. What are they
So,
doing? Hire him.
but if I was
I
Mike,
always get crazy, me and my sister.
listen, if I had a chance to do Mike, though, Mike was genetically a gift and he was very explosive and he has so many
Mhm.
talents. I feel like the impact that I could have made with Mike is very similar to the impact I could have made with Adrian Bronner. And that is being one of the guys that's willing to step up and be truthful to you. One of the
Mhm.
guys that doesn't necessarily need your acceptance, approval, money to survive. Whenever you got guys who you pay, a lot of times those guys become yes men because they just want to continue with the check. When you're an already
Mhm.
established person and you've already make money, it becomes more about the honesty of the relationship than it does about the money. So
Right.
with Mike, I felt like I would have been more a bigger guide and in his life as far as how to stay focused to the best of my ability. And the same thing with AB. Adrian Bronner is one of the few guys that I always said if I was able to work with him at an earlier point in his career, I still feel like he would have been on top now because for those who know me, you understand I'm a very disciplined person, but I'm also a very understanding person. I feel like unlike some other guys on this team and those teams, whether you pay me or not, I'm still going to give you 100% of the truth. And if you don't like it, that's your choice. But it's not going to be a
Right.
space where I'm just going to pacify you because you're cutting my check.
Right, and that's the wrong thing to do with anybody in any aspect of life.
Right.
Even outside of coaching, you never want to be surrounded by yes men because it's the wrong thing. They're just going to go along with whatever you
Mhm.
think is correct, and
Right.
not everything you think is correct.
Correct. And
Not
so,
everything that I think is correct. I need people to correct me and say, "No, Danique, this is not right," or or when things are going correct, this is good. But it's terrible to have yes men. So many people have been destroyed by surrounding themselves with yes men.
I've
I'll
always.
take a few. Where are all these yes men at? Bring me some damn yes men. Come on.
You
I
ain't
don't
gonna get him
want
on
any
this
yes
show.
men.
You're not getting him on this
I
show.
know. What the hell? Tell me about it. I've been looking everywhere my whole life. Coach Wade, it's truly been an honor to sit down with you. I just want to kind of close things out full circle of the early point of the conversation and say this to all the people out there that were hating on Jake Paul and Logan Paul, saying that these men are single handedly ruining boxing. Well, it looks like they're saving it. Viewership's up. Boxers are making more money. They're getting more opportunities. And it all started really on these guys' shoulders, making it cool for these kids to be watching it again, being able to stream it on Netflix. So I mean, just it's been a really cool thing to watch as a fan and to see that boxing is not dead and in fact alive and well and is on the rise.
I only have one thing to close out, and that is what people don't realize now that I'm with Jake is my very first fighter that I ever worked with was KSI, who fought Logan at the Staples Center. That was the first
Wow.
quote unquote YouTube fight brought to the US when those two sold out the Staples Center with just those two alone. Sold it out.
Okay.
So at first I didn't know how it was going to transition over. As a matter of fact, I was worried about ruining my career working with KSI. But now that I've been in the sport, now I've worked with the top guys in the sport because I've worked with Logan now in training now. But being able to work with those guys to any degree has shown me how they sacrifice and sweat and cry and do all the other stuff that any other fighter does. So they're giving up just as much as any fighter who's a world champion is now, and they deserve the respect.
So, one last question here. Um, are we going to see a Jake Paul versus Logan Paul fight at any point in the future? Gotta ask.
Listen, as
Brother,
as
what?
crazy as that sounds, right? I can see it happening. I really
Oh
can.
Lord.
I can really see it happening. It's been in discussion
Brothers
before.
should never fight brothers.
I listen. I understand and I agree. But that conversation has hit the table a few times. So
Really? That's
yeah, yeah,
interesting.
because early in their careers, they kind of had a little beef going for a minute, and the social media world knew about it. That's probably why you asked about it. So
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. It might make sense. This is the way to settle it. I'm sure they've had plenty of fights as kids, but I mean,
yeah,
we need to
but
see it
he loves his
on
brother.
Netflix.
Logan loves Jake, and Jake
Mm,
loves Logan. And so they definitely show support for one another. They'll go across the world to support one another. So that I love that. But
that's beautiful.
siblings do battle a little bit. So I,
Siblings, there's always sibling
yeah,
rivalry.
so you never know. You never know. I wouldn't put it past them.
All right, good to know. Maybe something to look forward to. And Coach Wade, where can they find you on social media so that they can follow more of your story and see what's next?
Listen, you can find me at Coach Larry Wade on every major platform from Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, uh, LinkedIn, everything's gonna be Coach Larry Wade. So if you guys are looking to see me there, you can see me on in that atmosphere, or go to any of those other social media platforms like Jake Paul's, and you'll see me there too.
There
You'll
we
be
go.
tagged there. And coach, what do you plan on doing on December 15th on Larry Wade Day this year?
The same thing I do with when it's not the 15th, and that is work my ass off. It's a day that I just use to work, man. And here's the thing: if I'm not working in a camp, I'm working at home for my wife. So either way, I'm working. So 9 times out of 10, I'll be working.
Right.
That's it. He's doing what he wants to be doing. So there you
I
have it,
love it.
folks.
I
You
love
know when
it.
it goes down, everybody don't meet us there. Meet us there November 14th. Thank you, Coach Larry Wade, for joining us. A true legend. Danique, thank you for joining us as well. You're tuning to Fox
Thank
Sports
you. No
Radio. What's going
problem.
on? And we'll be back after these brief messages. Don't go nowhere.